if it wasn't $1,000 a bottle, it's a real sticking point. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another one where I do an actual fragrance review, so let's do it. Now, I guess I can say that I may have found an infinite fragrance glitch, like an infinite money glitch, but with fragrances. And it maybe works in your neck of the woods. It certainly seems to work in mine, in that I keep getting emails about fragrances that I have no access to test. And when I do that, I reply to the email saying, where can I test it? And I'm in Australia, where can I test it? And they say, oh, you can't, but we'd be happy to send you a sample if you want to smell what it smells like. And lo and behold, I've got another purple envelope from the kind folks at the Roja Haute Perfumery, which I think is now just called Roja Parfums, Roja Parfums. I think that's what it's called now. Roja Parfums, I think. And this one, I know what's in it, and I think I've smelled it before, as a matter of fact. Actually, I'm not sure. Let me just double check that. Oh boy. Here I have my Sacco samples. And in my Sacco samples, I have got a Roja it used to be called the Haute Perfumery sampler, and I have another one. I have two because there's a lot of fragrances in this particular line. I'll put my Sacco over there. I'll put my Sacco samples to the side. In this one, there were 5 samples. And in this one, there are also 5 samples, but they're all different samples because these are all from the Pierre de Velay line from the Roja Parfums house. This one's a little bit heavier. I may not have used all of these. I think, there's only like about 3 left in this one. Do I still have it? I think I still got some. Yes, I do. I still have some. This is Pierre de Velay number 1, which is exactly what's in this envelope right here. I lied when I said I'd never smelled it and see what they would do. And they were kind enough to send me a sample of the fragrance. So let's open it up and find out if it smells like what I remember it smelled like. Here it is. I thought it would be bigger. That's what she said. No, that's not what she said. And here is the Pierre de Velay number 1. Why is the color different? This one's a lot more. This is very different coloring. All right? You see that? It is very, very different. So I wonder if it's different because it's the same thing. It should be the same thing. And I might actually just do 1 spray of this and 1 spray of this. So let's get the old forearms ready. All right, the old one that I had can go on this arm. If it sprays, okay, that's good enough. And then the new one can go on this arm. All right. This Pierre de Velay line is pretty much the second to highest tier, I think, within the Roja Parfums world. I think the highest being the semi-bespoke that you can buy commercially, and I also know that the house does fully bespoke fragrances that cost a lot more money than you think. Now, these bottles actually are 100 ml, and they are 495 pounds, which is $1,000, give or take a few bucks Australian. So for $1,000, you get a 100 ml bottle of Pierre de Velay in a nice box with brass, I guess, mechanical elements. And what do you smell like for $1,000? You smell expensive. You smell expensive. That's what you smell like. Actually smells like a more expensive version of Amber Oud. And they smell quite the same. I think the top notes on this one are a bit better because it's new. And maybe I sprayed more of it on. But it's supposed to have bergamot up top, which in these heavy fragrances, I can't really tell if there's a bright sort of citric element up top, but I'm sure it sort of tempers the base when you actually initially sprayed it on. But what I do get a lot of is rose and jasmine. and this very heavy, non-indolic jasmine, a lot of rose, like this really high quality rose, and a little bit of soapiness. And I think that's coming from like an orange blossom note. Certainly not a first impression. I have worn this 2 ml sample, almost finished it, and so I guess I've got another 2 mils. I don't think it's a very warm weather friendly scent, so it's more sort of your autumn and winter. And I do appreciate when houses do this, they send out a sample for you, which is really nice, because you're spending $1,000 on a bottle for a blind buy. I'm not at that stage of life yet where I can do that. And I don't think even if I was, I mean, I could, but I don't think it would be wise. I don't think it would be wise. It would be a bit of a folly. It would be a bit foolish. And the only place that you can actually test these fragrances in the Pierre de Velay line is if you go to Harrods in London and go up to the 6th floor, I think, at the Salon de Parfums or something like that. That's where you test them. That's where you go to test these in the semi-bespoke line. I don't think anywhere else stock these. I don't think so. So it's a bit of a shame, really. But then again, maybe you understand that, okay, if it's luxury, then that's what you're going for. If it's uber luxury and niche, and that's what you're going for, you're not going for volume. You're going for quality, and you're going for price to keep a lot of noses away from this. Oh, it is nice. And there's some saffron in here, which I love. I love saffron in fragrances. I've noticed that a lot. And yeah, it's good. And some oud in here as well. Some people say this is really crap, but I actually really like this fragrance. I think it's a really, really good one. I've smelled now 10, maybe actually more, maybe about 12 of the Pierre de Velay line. There's quite a number of the fragrances in the Pierre de Velay line. So the Pierre de Velay line, let me tell you a story about the Pierre de Velay line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 fragrances in the Pierre de Velay line. That's a lot of $1,000 fragrances. Not all of them are good. I'll tell you that now. I did not like the oud. That was horrible. I gave that away. The sample, I had a sample of that, and I gave that away. But there's some absolute bangers in this line. I think number 9 is really good. I like number 23 and 25, number 47, and they're all just numbered, which makes it really difficult unless you really, really take care and notice what's going on. So, bleh. Number 4 and number 6 are also very good. But this number 1, so the story with Pierre de Velay, I was going to tell the story, and I haven't told the story yet. The story with this Pierre de Velay line is that Roja was, I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was like walking down the street and he tripped over a book. I don't know. I can't remember the story. I can't remember the start of the story, but I do know that the crux of it is that he came across this book. This book had recipes of perfumes. No idea who the perfumer was. There's rumors out there if you believe the story, there's rumors out there that this was Guy Robert's book, Guy Robert, that guy. It was his book and his fragrances. I think that was the guy. And so he was like, oh, interesting. And like there was different numbers and different recipes for fragrances. And he's just like putting out the ones that he's, I guess, tried and put together. That was the story I read. I don't know if they've stuck to that story or they've just changed it or something like that. Or if this is just a perfume line. But, that's what it is. So if you haven't come across this line before and you want to try them out, you either need to be in London or you might just get onto their mailing list, and the next time you get an email about it, just tell them that you're in a country where they do not have anywhere for you to sample it, and they might be kind enough to send you a sample, which is very nice. Other than that, if you do buy something from them, you can usually get these, or you can buy these directly from the website. I don't know if they sell them anymore, actually, but you used to be able to buy the actual sample pack from the website. You get 5 of them, and there's 2 versions of it with 2 sets. So you don't actually get to sample all 19, but you can sample 10 of them at least. And there's quite a number of them that I really like, and I've actually finished, number 9 included. So yeah, there you go. Hold on, not there you go. I don't think we've actually come to talk about the mids and the base, because I don't think this really has a top. It's like this initial blast of citrus with rose and jasmine, and then the citrus just boof disappears. The bergamot just boof disappears, and then you get like a soapy little element that comes in to play, and then this clinical dryness of the saffron with its aroma, and then the woodiness of the oud. It's a very aromatic, woody oud. It is not your stanky kind of oud, but it's not a designer by any means, and it doesn't smell like a designer fragrance. It actually smells quite well done, and it actually smells expensive. I don't know how that would come across, but it does smell that way. So if you want to smell expensive, you might need to spend $1,000. I'm kidding, you don't need to do that. And if you want to smell expensive, just spray on whatever and look and act expensive. I don't know what that means. Act expensive. Act like you are worth something. Act like you are worth spending time with, getting to know. Maybe you don't need to act. Maybe you just become that by doing interesting things. Where would you wear this? I think if you had like a velvet smoking jacket, maybe it was purple. You're wearing a shirt. You're wearing the frilly shirt, the pirate shirt, the shirt with like a frilly sort of collar or something like that. Something like that. That's the vibes that it gives. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautifully done. What are the functional applications for this? Where do I wear this? Well, actually, in reality, you just wear this anywhere. So it doesn't really matter. But for those that care about, I don't know, being social and care about other people other than themselves, you might want to consider what kind of connotations this kind of scent would ring out in other people's minds. Like, it would be very out of place if you were wearing it with, like, I don't know, shorts and a flannel shirt and a backwards baseball cap. That would be like odd, because it wouldn't work. Yeah, you would need to dress this up, because it definitely smells like a dressy up kind of fragrance. Dressy up. I speak English. It's all right. The dry down is like, it's a bit meh, because that's when like the oud takes over. I'm not a fan of oud, even in this aromatic variety where it doesn't smell like dog shit in a leather shoe, or someone ate a wheel of blue cheese and farted or something like that. No, this is a very straight up, sort of cleanly sanded aromatic wood with rose and saffron for the dryness, and ambergris in there as well, and you can smell it, but it's not super salty. It's all more aromatic than anything else, and woody and rosy, and just you can smell like this for a lot less. And if nobody's actually, sticking their nose in close to your skin, you could do very close to this for a lot less, I think. But then you would know. And if you care about only having the best, then probably this is for you. Probably. And you should probably check it out. But if it's not, then there's more other alternatives of the aromatic woody rose, maybe with a little bit less refinement. But yeah, this is great. So if it wasn't $1,000 a bottle, it's a real sticking point. It's a real sticking point. $1,000 a bottle. So this 2 ml is $20. And in that $20, you could probably get at least 4 wears out of it. So maybe it's good value because it actually sticks around for quite a while. And they are all Parfum concentrations anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, I could ramble on about this longer, but I don't think it's interesting enough to keep going about it because, like I said, it's nice, but for the price, it's not that great. But the story's cool. Thanks for watching.